I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get across this. That's pretty bonkers. All right, welcome back to the garage. It's been quite a while since we've been back here. And here's the deal. I was going to do a short video today updating you guys on what I've been up to, all of the training that I've been doing for these big races I got coming up, kind of stepping you through some of the races I've done, where I've been, you know, some of the terrain I've been on. But we finally got blessed with some good weather here in town. And I've been taking out the Trail 125, as you can see, covers off. Now, of course, the Himalayan is still under cover, but we'll get to that. But I've been taking the Trail 125 out. It's been running great, started right up. As you saw a few weeks ago, I took it out for sort of that first ride, but I've been commuting on it now. And while there is still a ton of snow on the ground, I thought, why not go for a ride? Try to explore someplace today. And while we're driving, I can talk about my training and my races. I'm so looking forward to this. I can't even tell you, it's been such a long winter. I got so many plans for the spring and for the summer. Oh man, I got so many cool ideas. I've been plotting loops and adventures and iron butt rides and mountain treks. Oh man, I got so many adventures planned, so I'm getting excited. Let's get out. All right, let's do this. Man, she fires right up. I love it. All right. It's funny how you can see this is the south-facing side and this is the north-facing side. It's quite distinct. Wow, look at this, man. We got some yeah, my first water crossing on the trail. This is nuts, man. Already I'm starting to wonder if we're not gonna be able to make it out there. Oh man, look at this. This is a full-on creek crossing. Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get across this. That's pretty bonkers. Oh man. I don't want to get my feet soaking wet, you know? Yes! Hey, you know what? I figured I gotta just go for it if I'm gonna do it. Wow, this road is chewed up. This is gonna be an interesting ride, folks. So as you guys can see, we've got a lot of water on the ground here. Oh man, I just got soaked. Look at that. Blah. I'm wearing like these old crummy like moccasin shoes. I probably should have worn my boots. We've made it to Woody Mountain Road, so let's take a gander at what she looks like. This road is typically more well maintained, but as you can see, it is pretty muddy. Oh yeah, it's definitely muddy. Not far down this road, probably another 2 or 3 miles or so, we come out on at Rogers Lake. Oh man, this is not gonna end well. I'm just going through these puddles now. Actually, she's doing pretty good, I've got to say. So Rogers Lake is about 2 miles down the road, and it never has water in it. It's always just an open field. And I suspect right now it's a full-on lake. And I really want to see what that looks like, because I will tell you, we've got these lakes in town over on the other side of town called Lake Mary. And Lake Mary is Upper Lake Mary and Lower Lake Mary. And Upper Lake Mary always has some water in it, but Lower Lake Mary never does. It's just a marsh, like an open field. And I drove down there the other day, and it is a full, vast and expansive lake like I've never seen before. And it's remarkable. I'll put a picture up on the screen. I took my dog there, and she was even like, what the hell's going on? And I've talked to some people that grew up in Flagstaff, and they've said that they haven't seen that much water in Lower Lake Mary since they were kids. So 20, 30 years. So that just goes to show you how wet of a year it has been. I'm seeing a road closed sign, so I suspect our road out to the lake is just closed. I didn't even consider that, actually, that they close these roads in the winter. Oh wow, yeah, well, so much for that idea. The road is just completely closed. Well, no kidding. Well, I guess that answers that, my friends. This big puddle. I'm like, part of me wants to go through it, but part of me's like, nah. Oh gosh. Oh, that's really muddy. Oh, yep. Oh man, we're getting stuck. We're getting stuck. Okay, we made it. We made it. Oh man, the bike is getting so muddy. Well, that's okay. It's a spring break-in ride. She's gonna get muddy. All right, well, while we're cruising here, maybe it's a good time I fill you guys in on my what I've been up to. So I've been up to a lot of running is what I've been up to.
Run, Forrest, run!
And that's why I haven't been posting a lot. I've been up to work and I've been up to running. So as you all know, I posted several months back in December that I've got a big race calendar this summer. I've got 2 massive races back to back, 3 weeks apart, 200 milers. So each one is 100 miles, and they're both mountain 100 milers. So they're both really difficult, rugged terrain, lots of elevation gain. They're both, I would say, pretty well-known, sort of famous 100 milers. One of them is Western States 100, which is kind of considered sort of the original 100 miler, so to speak. And then the other one is the Hard Rock 100, which is considered one of the most difficult mountain 100s in the country, with 36,000 feet of elevation gain or something like that. So both races are incredibly difficult, and I know this because I've done both of them. I ran the Western States 100 back in 2017, and I had a pretty rough day, actually. It was really hot, and I ended up finishing in about 27-ish hours. I was hoping to go under 24, but I just did not have a good day. And then Hard Rock I ran in 2018, the next year, and finished in something like 39 hours, which is very different from 27, right? It's 12 hours slower. That just goes to show you how much harder, how much slower and more difficult the Hard Rock race is. So here's the kicker, though, as I said, is I'm doing them both this year, and they're 3 weeks apart. So that means I've got 3 weeks to recover in between the 2 races. And as a way to prepare for this ridiculous endeavor, I've basically been ramping up not just my training, but my racing. So one of the very first things I did in December is I ran a 6-hour loop race. So this is one of these things that you run 1 mile loop over and over and over and over again as many times as you can in 6 hours. And I think I finished with like 31 or 32 miles. It was a 50K essentially. So I did that, and then I ran another race down in the desert that was a shorter race. It was something like 17 or 18 miles on single track trails, and that was a nice sort of first warm up to trails. And then I just started running a lot. I started running a lot of training runs, and so I was ramping up to about 50 to 60 miles a week through the holidays and then into January. And then my first major race on the calendar was a race in February called the Black Canyon 100K. So that's 62 miles. And as a way to prepare for that race, I ran 2 races in January. One was called the Cold Water, and that was I think it was a 20-mile race or a 21-mile race. And then I ran the Elephant Mountain 50K, which is a 31-mile race. So those were my sort of ramp up races. And then I ran the Black Canyon race with a whole bunch of friends of mine in
February and did okay there. I purposely took that race kind of slowly, just because I didn't want to, I just didn't want to hurt myself or go too fast. So I enjoyed myself and had a great day and finished with a ton of energy left over. And then following that race, I've had a couple of other things on the calendar. So I ran a race called the Mesquite Canyon, which was, again, it was something like 19 miles or somewhere kind of in that 20-mile range. That was a really difficult race. It was fun, but it was kind of gnarly. And then this past weekend, I ran another race called the Damn Good 40K. So that was 40K is something like 25 miles. I ran that race and I did pretty well there, but it started to get really hot towards the end of the race. So Phoenix is already getting up into the high 90s. And so that's too hot for me. I can't deal with that. So by the time I got to mile 21 or 22, I started having some trouble with the heat and I slowed way down. So, but I still finished and everything was fine and I did okay. And yeah. And that's pretty much been it. I've just been cranking up the mileage. I still got to get out on my run today, sadly. So that's another reason I got to get home. But yeah, I've got a long run this weekend. And then next weekend, so the weekend of the 14th, I've got a 50K, the Zion 50K. Now, if you remember, last year I ran the Zion 100K. Look at this course.
Okay.
This is bonkers. And I did not have a good day. It was not good. I didn't like it. The course was pretty, but the course was pretty in the first 20 miles. And so I decided I was going to run the 50K version this year because basically it's the best parts of the 100K. And so I'm actually much more excited about it than I was about coming away from the race last year. Plus, I'm in a lot better shape than I was last year, so I'm much more excited just to get out there and explore that course. So that's the other big race I got coming up. And then, let's see, what else? Man, so that's April. And then early May, I've got a race here in town in Flagstaff called the Eldon Crest 36 milers. So there's this 200-mile race that starts in Arizona and ends here in Flagstaff called the Cocodona. And I obviously do not want to run 200 miles before my big races this summer. So they have a shorter version, which is basically just the last 36 miles of the course. And the best part is the start line is a mile from my house. So I can quite literally walk to the start line of this race, which is bonkers. And it basically follows the Flagstaff Loop Trail, which I've done several times on this channel in training. And so that's coming up in early May. And then I've also got a rim to rim to rim planned in mid-May, which will be really fun as well. Then we get into June, and I've got a couple of little things planned in June, including another little local race here in town. But otherwise, June is all about just slowly tapering down and getting ready for Western States, which happens the weekend of June 24th, I think. Whatever that weekend is, it happens on that Saturday. So, yeah, should be interesting. So if you look off to the left here at the stop sign to those apartments right there, those gray apartments, that's where I used to live, right there. So something that I was thinking about here very recently is that I have now lived in Flagstaff for just about 4 years. I'm coming up on my 4-year anniversary. I moved here in 2019 in the summer. And when I think about that, it's actually really surprising because the last place I lived before moving here was Vermont. And I also lived there for 4 years, but yet it seems like I was there for so much longer. It feels like I lived in Vermont for 7 years or 8 years, and it feels like I've only been here for a couple. So it's very strange how time works sometimes, to think that I've been now in Flagstaff as long as I was in Vermont. Just kind of a little bit crazy. I think the pandemic really kind of screws up my sense of time It really does. What a fun little bike. I mean, honestly, what a fun little bike. What a fun day. That was exactly what I needed on a Friday afternoon. And I'm glad you guys could come with me and I could share some of the fun things that I've been up to these last few months. So take care, everyone. Be safe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.